Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Thursday Millennial Superstar meeting. Today, as I mentioned in the mailer, we are going to talk about cinematography in specific. So many of you who have been attending the Telegram workshops and even advanced workshops, many of you are specifically aspiring to become cinematographers. So there are many ways to go about it. So today we are going to talk about some effective ways to just get started. Of course, like I always tell in my workshops, whether you want to pursue just cinematography or just acting or any aspect of filmmaking, there are many different ways to go about it. But like without quitting your jobs, without paying for costly film schools and cinematography schools and stuff, how can you get started? That's what we focus on in our workshops, basic level, advanced level, everywhere. So today we are going to talk about cinematography from that point of view. So how many aspiring cinematographers here? Type me. Let's hear how many of you are looking at doing cinematography for films in the future. How many of you are interested in that? Vijay says me. Srinivas says me. That's it. Others, guys? Sufyan says me. Okay, Raj, Venkatesh. Okay, guys, in our advanced workshops, actually, people who have attended advanced workshops, you would know, like we cover about all the aspects of filmmaking. Shankar is saying, repeat, I could not hear properly. Shankar, the question was, how many of you want to get into cinematography, specifically into cinematography, or do cinematography for your films? So Sanjeev says me. So the thing is, in our advanced workshops, we talk about all the aspects of filmmaking. So I always tell my participants that irrespective of which aspect you want to get into, it's important that you understand the basics of every single aspect. But when it comes to cinematography, I normally advise my participants, you don't have to initially start worrying about cinematography. Just like I always iterate this, just start with your common sense. Just start with your common sense. And you, at the end of the day, you are also an audience. You have been watching films for so long. So you have a basic sense about every aspect. How the sound has to be designed for a film. How do you like the sound in a film? How do you like the visuals in a film? So with that sense, you just get started. You just get started. So all Shankar says it's because it's another side of director or mirror of director's vision. Yes, yes. So okay, before we jump into it, let's understand like how many of you how many of you have tried your hands at cinematography, guys? Of course, not the Telegram workshop film. Other than that, have you tried anything? Vijay says me. Sanjeev says no. How many of you own a DSLR? Yes, in my cell phone. My Time Media, please change your name so that we get to know who it is. So how many of you own a DSLR, guys? DSLR, type DSLR, guys. If you own a DSLR, type DSLR. Sanjeev says DSLR. Vijay, DSLR, awesome. So when you have a DSLR, just right after the advanced workshop, you can actually get started exploring cinematography, guys. Like in the advanced workshop itself, I have kind of given you the basics of how to get started. But like I advise in the advanced workshop, there are a lot of YouTube videos you can check out, and you can just start experimenting with cinematography. See, let me just briefly tell you the various cinematographers I have worked with. Initially, when I started my filmmaking journey, one of my friends who was having a DSLR like you, I met him in a theater group. So I asked him, do you have a DSLR? He said yes. And we decided to make a short film together. That's how we made Girlometry in 2012. So his name was Sohan Raghavendra. So he just had a DSLR. He was a photographer till then. I knew what I wanted in my film. So what we did, I do the same technique even today. We Googled a lot of videos. We checked a lot of videos on YouTube on how to achieve good cinematography in a short film. So we got a lot of videos. We sat together, we watched the videos, and we went ahead and shot the film. Especially my first film, I share it in the Telegram workshop. It's a film where cloning is involved. So I had to check out as an editor how to do cloning. First, I needed to figure out that. And then we sat together and we checked out the cinematography aspects, and we just started. And he did cinematography for, I think, couple of films. Then he got busy with something else. So I thought I'll ask other people, and one more DSLR photographer. Again, he came, and again, we did the same thing. And then once I started the workshop, participants like you have been working with me. So Madhav, who was working with me, who did cinematography for the Rajma Upma ad, for the film Navilugari, which won at an international film festival. We just watched a lot of Google videos on Google and YouTube. He was also at Infosys. I was also working at Infosys. That's how we met. So we did a lot of research on our own. And if you open YouTube, there are a lot of DIY videos. So while working, while pursuing our 9 to 5 job, in the evenings, we used to catch up at Chai Point or some other place, and we used to discuss together, and we did cinematography for Navilugari. As in, he did cinematography, but I used to go and arrange the lights. This I talk about in the advanced workshop also, how we figured out some DIY lighting techniques for our film and all. So then Madhav, after doing cinematography for Navilugari and I think 2 or 3 more films, then he decided, okay, now I am ready to take it full time. And then he took it, like he went to Rajiv Menon Institute in Chennai. It was a 6-month course. He did the course and then came back and then did few more films, but then he got busy with some other things, so he didn't pursue. But Deepit, another guy who, like when Madhav went on site, I thought, okay, whenever we have a passionate workshop participants, I have always made sure in the community itself, a lot of opportunities get created. See, in filmmaking, the main problem many people have is getting a team. So here in Golden Age Film House community, that is solved because we have a good community going on. Though not everyone is active, there are active set of people who keep on doing some short film or other. So if you're passionate, you just take the DSLR and experiment. So that's how Deepit came in. He did cinematography for almost 40 workshop films, and then he got into the industry. He didn't attend any other course. He just kept on doing short film after short film with us in Golden Age Film House workshops. Then he got directly a feature film offer. So I had actually recommended him for a few more big projects where he worked as an assistant director of photography. And then he got an offer as an independent cinematographer. So he's doing his second feature film called Neere in Kannada. So my suggestion would be the best way to go about pursuing cinematography for people who are working a 9 to 5 job is just take your DSLRs in the community, find out who are doing short films. If you have now that people who have attended the advanced workshop, you know how to come up with a basic script and how to team up with people, so you can direct and do cinematography. But start doing things, start exploring cinematography. And as you start doing films, as you start doing cinematography for films, you will figure out the mistakes that happen and you will start correcting. So we will discuss technically probably very soon. I'll probably try to arrange a session with either Deepit or other people who are doing cinematography. Today we have Srinivas with us, who did the cinematography for the last Millennial Superstar Workshop film that has released. It's called Together. So there is one more film he has done that's going to release soon. So he is going to do cinematography for 4 more films. So by the time, like I have told this again and again, like all the experience that I have till now, I got through doing these workshop films only. So I have worked with so many different teams, so many different films. That kind of experience no film school can teach you, no cinematography course can teach you. Trust me guys, there are a lot of cinematography courses out there, but that's what people who can afford going full time and dedicating your time and money into it, they can do that. But for people who want to get started in a much simpler, much effective way, I would suggest this is the best way to go about it. So having said that, let's bring in Srinivas. So Srinivas did the cinematography for the recent short film together. So let's just talk to Srinivas on his experience, how he got started, where his journey started, and all the people who are aspiring to get into cinematography. Then we can take up the questions and we can discuss more on based on your questions. So Srinivas, are you there? So let me ask him to unmute.
Yeah, hi everyone. Hi Vihan.
Hey Srinivas. So okay, let me quickly introduce. Just a second, Srinivas. Can you enable your video, Srinivas?
I have already enabled.
Okay, just give me a second. Okay, guys, are you able to see Srinivas? Okay, awesome. So Sanjeev says yes, Sufyan says yes. So Srinivas attended a workshop like the advanced workshop. He attended, I think, almost 2.5 years back. He will
2017.
2017 is it? Oh my God! So 4 years back. Which was the film?
Six pack.
Six pack. Yeah. So he is basically he is a lecturer. So he attended the workshop and then he did some films with other teams. But cinematography, I don't think he had explored initially. Recently, that's what when we came up with the Millennial Superstars Meeting Initiative, I told him, why not you explore yourself? Initially, the plan was to bring in another cinematographer who is also a workshop participant called Satvik. But then we thought, Srinivas said, I am passionate about it. I thought, I told him, why not? Let's start trying it out. Just make sure you do your homework and start trying it. Don't come to the set totally unprepared. Just do your preparation. We will have a couple of calls to plan it and then come in. And we did together. So we did together, which is a short film together. And many people have liked the cinematography. Actually, some of them even were asking his number. So
yes.
that's the journey as I know it. So Srinivas, can you like quickly tell like after the workshop what all happened?
Yeah, after the workshop, I was like, hello. Before telling everything, hello everyone. I'm not a pro or an expert to tell you about cinematography, but yeah, I'm going to share my experience here. So after the workshop, I immediately started with a short movie with my brothers. So I took a mobile and then I started shooting it. So that's how I started. So I was very much passionate about it. So I took my mobile. It was a Redmi Note 5 Pro, and then we started shooting it with a tripod, and we did some jugaad for the lighting and all. And then did it. It was okay. It was. I did not do any the dubbing thing and all, but it was okay. And then later. There was I mean like there was no proper team, so I could not do any more movies. So after that, again there was a meeting where we used to meet in Lalbagh. You remember that? I guess and so we were there. We met Divya Dubey and the other workshop participants, wherein they were searching for a cinematographer. So I and the other person did a short movie with that. There I started with a actual cinematography, wherein I started using my DSLR. So yeah, as soon as I completed this workshop, within one year, I guess I bought a DSLR, so that I can explore things. Then later on, again there was a disconnect, wherein there was no proper team and there was no proper coordination, so I could not do much films. Then later, when this millennial superstar thing began, so that's when I got an opportunity wherein I can explore in cinematography. See, I'm not an expert, but then I just wanted to talk a few things with Vihan's permission. So,
Yeah, please go ahead.
yeah, I think see, to become a cinematographer, you don't need a costly gear like a costly camera or a tripod, or even a costly mobile is not required. But yes, if you want to get a decent footage, you just need a decent enough mobile which you can shoot up to 1080p with at least 60 frames per second. On top of this, you need zeal to learn and passionate towards cinematography. So in Vihan's workshop, he would have taught you about cinematography. However, so you need to proactively watch videos about cinematography. There are a lot of videos uh, about cinematography, how to learn. I mean, like how to use the settings. So first thing you need to do is forget that there is something setting called as automatic settings. You always need to shoot in manual. So once you start using manual settings, then you will start learning things. So try to search about ISO, aperture, frame rate, shutter speed. This is what Vihan sent me a video saying that watch these videos before coming to do the shooting and all. So I had already watched these videos. I had some I had the information about it, but hands-on experience was not much. I did not have any hands-on experience. To do this hands-on experience, you need to have a proper team. So that is what. So you need to try doing these things, understand what do you mean by ISO. For example, if there is more ISO, then what is it going to be? So more ISO means more brighter the image will be. The one drawback of that is you'll get grains. In the same way, aperture, what do you mean by aperture? So it is used to, we use this f-stop number for that. So lower the f-stop number, more the light is going to enter into the sensor, something like that. So you need to understand the basics of this. If you understand the basics of it, it will be easy for you to do the cinematography. So always experiment with the gear which you have, and slowly try to add the gears. For example, lights, as Vihan was telling, lighting is very important, and then you can do some important. I mean, like, see, you can be creative enough to do the lighting setup. For example, there is a light which is coming from the window. You can use that light. Okay, so all those things you need to try. And one more thing which I learned from this is you need to try to work closely with the director. You need to try to because you are the one who will make his dream come to life. So work with the director and do the short design beforehand. So that is what I learned. So when we did this together, we had a con call with Vihan, and then we were discussing about what is it going to be, how is it, what does he want, and then we had to meet a day prior. So this is very important, to meet the director at the location a day before, or like I mean, like, before the shooting only you have to meet the director and go plan what shots he wants to be. I mean, like, what shots has to be taken. And then this helps you to understand and what kind of lighting setup you need to use for this. See, to understand the lighting setup, or like the whatever gears which we have, and then what is the lighting which is there in that room, so you need to understand those things before the. So that is the reason you need to like meet a director beforehand at the location. You have to meet. See, for example, I'll give you example. If you want to shoot in the night, and if you visit the location in the morning, or if you're shooting in the morning and visit the location at the night, that it will, you will get up, I mean, like, there will be no clear picture there. So because that will be challenging for you, because if you see the location at the night, and if you're going for a shoot in the morning, you'll not understand whether the sunlight is entering into the room from where, or like how is the lighting which is going to affect your video, all those things. Same happened with the recent shoot which we did it with Raj. So we had this fight short movie which we had to work with. So I had to visit the location. I had to visit, but I did not visit the location due to some personal reasons. So, however, I was closely working with the director about the location and what kind of shots he need, and all these things were working out for us. I mean, like, a storyboard was done, and then the shot planning was done without seeing the location only. Okay, I had a clear idea about what kind of shots I wanted to take. But then when I visited the location, there were challenges waiting for me. So when I went there, the location, there was a slope wherein I could not achieve this. What is it? I could not place the tripod there, but then I could use this the what do you say, the meter or whatever, there is this leveler, right? So I could use that. But the main challenge was about the lighting was a very big challenge there in very harsh light was coming, and we had to lower the ISO and use a higher f-stop number. Even doing this could not help me to achieve the shot which I wanted to get, because of uh, because of this few shots I had to use sky when it was getting overexposed. So only way to avoid this was like to use a ND filter, which I was not having that ND filter. So which I did not have, and then I had to compromise with the footage, and then had to shoot with whatever we had. So it is very important to visit the location, to pre-plan. And there was one more solution for this. When we shoot it in outdoor, people normally think outdoor, right? So why do we need lights? So in these kind of situations, when we use light and light on the subject, and which can counter the situation. However, lights were not put to charge. So because they thought that oh, we are doing it in the morning, so we don't need lighting for the shoot. So oh, I had to compromise there also. So, and also the best timing to shoot is in the outdoor is like 6 to 9, and in the evening it would be 4 to 6. It would be like a golden time, they'll say, right? So that could avoid this harsh light. So sunlight will not be harsh at that time. So that is the reason. In this, by the time we met and we started the shooting, it was only at 10 o'clock. It was almost 10 o'clock. So yeah, obviously that was like a experience. And then a very important thing which I would specifically tell you from my experiences: whenever whoever is doing the cinematography or handling these things, please do not delete the footage. However the crappiest footage it might be, it will help you when you're doing, for some or the other reason, it might help you in the editing. So yeah, these are the things which I had to talk about. So yeah, please do not delete any videos. I mean, like the footages, because that is what happened when Raj gave me the footage. He thought these videos was not good. So we will. He had kept those in the other folder. I had got only few videos wherein he thought that was good. So when I started editing, I was like, where are the other videos where I had some mind, when I mean, like when I was doing the shooting, I had some I mean, like I had approved those videos. I mean, like, okay, this can be used to edit. So those videos were not there. So please do not delete any footage. So this is one of the thing which I uh, wanted to tell. And personally, I follow few channels. If you can follow, I mean, like even Vihan would be suggesting this, which is Film Riot, and Cinecom and Tomorrow Filmmakers. These channels you can follow in YouTube, so that I mean, like they're the best. I mean, like they're the best in the industry. So they teach how to get a great footage or the cinematic footage in the budget. I mean, like what do you say, indie filmmakers. So how do indie filmmakers use these things? So these are the things which I personally follow. These are the video channels which I personally follow. You can just you can search in YouTube and you will get those videos. So yeah, my thing is, my personal opinion about this is always you need to have that zeal to learn. Try to Google whatever comes into your mind. For example, if I want to shoot a, movie in a low light, so what are the things which I need to do if it is a low light? So if I want to do uh, what do you call uh, the color palette is also important. So you need to work with a director for everything. So these are the things which I wanted to tell Vihan. Yeah,
Awesome.
I mean, like, yeah.
So
Thank you.
yeah, like all these things actually people who have attended the advanced workshop would kind of know, because we have spoken about all these things. But when a person actually goes on set and experiences firsthand, nothing can beat that. So that's what Srinivas is actually sharing. Now that just one film we did, and the second film, some things went our way, some things didn't go our way. So I have been doing the same thing with different cinematographers for a long time. So it all comes down to planning, guys. So it's a choice. It's a choice. You can. So that's what I wanted to actually talk about here. See, I have attended many workshops myself when I decided to learn filmmaking. So I had attended a workshop about cinematography in some institute in Koramangala, I think Creo Valley or something. A famous cinematographer called Manohar Joshi. He had done Simple Agon Love Story and many films. So he came and he was teaching trying to teach cinematography there. By then, I had done some short films and I had a fair idea about cinematography, direction, and many things. But many other participants there were very new. But this guy, he suddenly started talking about the lenses, what kind of lenses we use, and what kind of f-stops, all those things. I was wondering, for a person who has never used a DSLR camera in life, how is he going to understand anything if we talk at that level? So for people who attend our workshops, we assume they are just getting started. Of course, if someone is already into photography, then we talk to them personally at a different level, like what I did with Srinivas and what I do with people who are aspiring to get into cinematography. But for people who have a DSLR but have not explored it much, what Srinivas said, or what I also say the same thing in the workshops, just go Google about your particular DSLR, what you can do with it, what are the options that are there. And he made an important point, like don't use auto mode, explore the manual mode as much as possible, and initially spend time shooting footages, random footages, and after the advanced workshop, you know editing as well. See, one thing I have, these things I even speak about in the advanced workshop, but I know like it needs multiple code for people to get that confidence. So this so actually the idea for this particular meeting came from my discussion with another participant, Sanjeev. Last week I was talking to him about how to get started with cinematography. So I thought for all the aspiring cinematographers, we will kind of give this idea of how to get started. So the idea is very simple, guys. Just get started. Initially, you don't need a team also. You come up with a very random script, like what you do in the Telegram workshop. You just come up with a simple script. It can involve your parents as actors. It can involve your pets as actors. It can involve your neighbors as actors. And just like use the techniques we learn in the advanced workshop, just do the entire process end to end. And of course, you if you have a DSLR, figure out how to use that DSLR, how to achieve what you want using that DSLR. If you don't have a DSLR initially, definitely DSLR is not the mandatory thing. You can just get started with your mobile phone. Many times, trust me, when limitations are posed upon us, our mind starts working very creatively. So with mobile phones, you can shoot amazing films like Corona Calling, which was one of the films I had sent for the Goa Panorama thing, that was shot completely on a mobile phone, because that time we had a constraint that you can't like go out of your house. So I had to, my sister was doing the cinematography, so I can't ask her to operate as a DSLR. So we used my Android phone, OnePlus phone. So it has a pretty amazing camera. So today's cameras also are pretty good. Like Srini was saying, it all has a full HD output. So with that, you shoot it with proper planning. Of course, like all the points he spoke about are important, and we also speak about that in the advanced workshop. You need to do proper planning. You need to plan out the lighting. You need to plan out the properties. You need to plan out the time at which you shoot. And then you shoot even on a mobile phone, the footage will look good. and then you bring it to the editing table, you would have learned the basic editing. So do some editing, and while you are editing, you will understand cinematography better. What mistakes I have done in the cinematography part. So this process, you repeat it 50 times, 100 times, you are a film cinematographer, feature film cinematographer. So if you go to any film school, they will talk about the same thing for 6 months or 1 year and probably make you do a couple of hands-on films. But I am telling you, this we can do as a community. MSM is all about that. Millennial Superstars community is all about that. We can collaborate on each other's films, but before even you come there, you should have tried your hands at certain films yourself. Even when I asked Srinivas to come in, I asked him to send whatever he has done, so that I know he has done some homework. So like what he was saying, this I have made participants do it as a part of the advanced workshop also, watching a lot of videos, YouTube videos, and experimenting with your camera. So you do that, you get started, and gradually, if you really feel now you are ready to take the game to the next level, in the community itself, there will be opportunities for you to work with people who are handling film cameras. Else, if you feel like you are in a stage where you can go for pretty advanced workshops, you can definitely take it up. But the best way to get started is just do it. As simple as that. So that's what Srinivas also briefed it. Like we discussed, I called him one fine day, said we will do it together, and he has started doing it. And I'm sure every film, like that's what, once you get on field and you start experimenting, that's when you will understand how to go prepared to the set. If you go without preparation, what all screw ups can happen. This maybe in my office, you might have seen the quote, film, pain is temporary, film is forever. If you make a mistake, it's going to stay on your record forever. So people are not going to understand what went on that day. They are just going to point out this is something wrong and you have done it in your film. So you have to make sure, initially we are all learning, so mistakes are okay. But as we go on, we have to keep correcting our mistakes and keep growing. If you do that, you will become a cinematographer one day. So this is in a very simple way, this is what I wanted to convey. So now, how many aspiring cinematographers here? So what do you think about this? Like, have you tried anything like this? You have any questions about this? If you have confusions on how to get started, you can just raise your hand. I'll unmute you. You can ask your questions. Sanjeev is an aspiring cinematographer. Vijay said he is wanting to do cinematography. So what have you done with respect to cinematography, guys? Okay, just a sec. Okay, Vijay, you can unmute yourself, Vijay.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Vijay. Yeah, go on.
Sir, basically, in the beginning, when I used to listen the words like cameraman, cinematographer, I used to think the people are totally different. So as I started learning, then I got to know, both handle the same job, but they have different synonyms for the same job. So the only thing which I really want to know, sir, is when I used to think about cinematography, lighting was a primary thing for me. But as I am learning now, I could understand that there are more aspects in the camera which I used to know. So if you could tell me that what are the basic things which I should be aware of when I'm handling my DSLR camera apart from the lighting.
No, Vijay, see, that's what, like the basic technical aspects are exposure and focus. And to control that, you have 3 parameters in the camera, which like any DSLR you start using, you will kind of figure out. That's what I suggest. Myself personally don't like talking about this very basic stuff, ISO or f-stop or shutter speed. All these things, just explore with your camera in manual mode. Just Google for it. You will get a lot of amazing videos explaining how to control these parameters. So you should know how to use your DSLR in the most effective way possible. See, any camera, be it a DSLR or a digital camera, which is cheaper than DSLR, that just the point and shoot cameras. Till now I have just owned a point and shoot camera only. I never even bought a DSLR. So a point and shoot camera or a phone camera or a DSLR, every camera has its strengths and weaknesses. So many DSLRs, the main challenge will be dynamic range of the camera. And the other thing is, so dynamic range is again technical, fairly technical. Basic idea is it can't handle light well. If you are shooting it in daylight, there are two challenges. One, it can get overexposed, or if you are shooting it in night time, it can get underexposed. So this is the challenge we need to handle. So for this, we need to understand like what my camera strengths are, and accordingly, I have to plan the lights. So how to do that? Like I said, just Google it, how to handle the shutter speed, how to handle the f-stop, what is focus, all these things, just a simple video will make you understand. So just check that, and always practice initially shooting on a manual mode in the camera. Once you start doing that, you will get hold of the technical aspects of the camera. Once you understand that, then you start experimenting with the camera in actual real-time shoot scenarios. You will kind of get an idea about it. So I know I didn't answer the technical part of the question. That's the thing. I don't want to do that part. I want you to explore that. It's simple, guys. Like that's what he said. One point, Vijay said one point. So cinematographer, director of photography. I have told this in my advanced workshop also. Like many people think, okay, a cinematographer is someone who has done a big fancy course from a pretty important university or special university, and because of the degree, he has become a cinematographer. Not really. Someone who is passionate about photography takes a DSLR and starts exploring the DSLR, starts shooting photos initially. From there, you start shooting some videos, then probably making videos. Then someone asks, dude, I like your work. Do you want to work with me in a short film? They do a short film, couple of short films, then a feature film. So KGF cinematographer Bhuvan Gowda started his career like that. He was just he was shooting, making pictures and making videos. Today, he is one of the sought after cinematographer in the Indian film industry because of KGF. So just experiment on your own. So if you again expect someone to tell you the technical aspects, again, you will again end up spending money on courses and stuff. In my course, I have always told people, this course is enough. Whatever we are talking here, if you approach the craft with that attitude, just a Google video is enough to help you. So Vijay, you got the answer? Vijay? Hello? So anyone else, guys? So again, like I don't want to make it technical. So because there are many new people, I want you to understand it's not technical. It's not technical. I don't know many things about cinematography myself. When I'm doing a film, I go and Google it and check it out. See, in Virgin Vaishali, we had to shoot 7 characters simultaneously. Yesterday also, I was talking to one person who is into making tripods and lights and stuff in a DIY style. Some random person, I was talking to him about developing a rig which we can use for movement shots in cloning for our feature film. So I was just talking to him about the requirement. I was telling him, see, we are all, most of us are at least from engineering background. So we know how basic equipments or machines work. So we kind of come up with ideas for our own projects. See, many international cinematographers or filmmakers, they have developed technology for their films, which has become the a kind of invention in the field, which has opened up new ways. For example, when Avatar came, the director designed certain technology for his film to make his film happen. But last week when I was watching Spider-Man, I was like mind blown because doing those things a decade back was such a big deal when Avatar came out. But today, every film, they are doing it so amazingly, cloning or a green screen and the marvelous CG they are mounting. So all these things happened because they started exploring. Since we are from technical backgrounds and stuff, we figure out ideas and stuff based on a requirement. So they say, right, necessity is the mother of all invention. So based on your requirement, you start exploring. So the only way to get better at it is by experimenting. So you do that. It's easy, guys. It's easy. So I know there are many new cinematographers who are going to come up. Now Srinivas has got started. He has already done, I think, Clubhouse one episode. He already shot. This weekend we are shooting one episode. So he's already like working on 3-4 short films. So 10 or 15 films he does like that. He will be at a different level of experience. So if I bring Deepit to this meeting, who is doing cinematography for a feature film, he will also say the same things what Srinivas is saying, because we all are from the same background. We all started with the same mentor, me. So this is the approach they are going to follow. So I want you guys also to just get started. Sanjeev or Venkatesha or Vijay, you just get started. You start exploring the DSLR. So technically, just for the sake of it, some of you have asked about lenses and all. We will probably try to bring in some cinematography. Even Srinivas, I am sure, can talk about it. Okay, today, just because you are all cinematographers are here, I'll tell you what's the best approach to get started. I told this to Sanjeev also, and he has also invested. Whoever is planning to invest on a DSLR, initially, many films we have shot, many short films we have shot. We have just used one prime lens, which is 50 mm, which is an additional investment. Along with the kit lens that we get 1855, kit lens quality won't be so great. But for wide angle shots, we use kit lens only because wide angle prime lens and all are costly. So initially, we have all the films that we shoot in our community, mostly, at least the workshop films and stuff. We use 2 lenses only. Any close-up shot, any mid-range shot, we use 50 mm lens. And for other wide-angle shots, we use 1855. But there are other prime lenses as well, which we have used for some professional projects like Dil Se that we shot with Karam Chawla, or Virgin Vaishali. There we go for 30 mm, 25 mm primes and telescopic lenses and all we have used at places. But initially, I would not suggest you trying your hands at all those lenses. For people who are getting started, this much is enough. Just understand the technical parameters, the ISO, like some cameras, you can push the ISO till 800 or 1600. But some cameras, you have to stop it at 400 because it will start graining. So all these things are dependent on your camera. So just check out some videos, do some test shoots on your camera and figure out those things for your camera. And then use a basic 50 mm lens. If you don't have a 50 mm lens that costs around 8,000 or something, you can initially rent it out, 200 to 250 bucks a day. So probably if you're doing a one-day shoot, you can initially rent it out. You don't even have to invest. So start exploring cinematography initially, guys. Then once you have done a few films, then when you are at that level where you want to explore higher cameras, high-end cameras and all, probably we can discuss about that later. But initially, to get started, this is the best way. Trust me, you don't need any course. After this workshop, especially people who have attended the advanced workshop already, you don't need anything else. Just stay with the community. I will make sure you get more opportunities to work together. And of course, I always say this, don't wait for me to create opportunities. You also can create opportunities for yourself. Figure out a team in the community, start a film. Now there is a good community, good number of people developing in Hyderabad also. In Hyderabad also, we are very soon we will have a handful of people who can work together. Bangalore, we have a big community anyways. So Chennai also, people are increasing day by day. So we should have people from our own places so that we can collaborate easily. But that should not be the stopping point anytime. Like I said, one day you can travel. In a month, one day traveling is also easy. Please do that. So any other cinematography specific questions, aspiring cinematographers who are planning to get started? Any questions, guys? Any questions to me or Srinivas? Shankar. Yeah, Shankar, go ahead.
It's not actually about the questions. As for my personal experience before joining to Golden Age Film House,
Okay.
I very aware about this craft, especially the cinematography craft, especially for those are indie filmmakers like us. It's very important to know and get hands on certain things what we have discussed so far. It will make definitely helpful for us to make our face to get the outputs, make the films. As you tell, no, one famous quote: being a multi-millionaire superstar, one should get multiple skill set. Amongst that, the cinematography is also one of the things.
Yeah. See,
I consider like that.
Like the thing is, if you are really passionate about, my advice is, if you are really passionate about cinematography, go with it. Else, best way, especially at least in our community, we have a community, so associate with people. Like, for example, Srinivas wanted to do cinematography, so he can become the cinematographer. Then now Venkatesh is interested, or Sanjeev is interested, so you collaborate with people. You yourself don't have to do cinematography if you are not interested. You understand the basics, that's good. As a director, you need to know the basics of cinematography, that's good. But then collaborate with people, that is okay. If you are not comfortable with handling the camera, you don't have to, but associate with people. But make sure director and cinematographer together, they have to do their homework before coming to the set. So that is important. So okay, Vijay is asking few points about color palette. Yes, color palette is extremely important. Like this, I have spoken in the editing work, advanced workshop a lot. See, any film, when we are starting the pre-production, what we think about is what kind of costumes we are going to use, what kind of properties we are going to use, the location, what colors are there already, and costumes, properties, and what else. If we are kind of having an option to change the location colors, what can we do about it? For example, when we are doing Bengaluru Clubhouse now, and this is of course as indie filmmakers, we might not have much control over the kind of location we get. So we have to first find out the location and then decide the color palette, or decide the color palette and then adamantly go scouting for locations that fall under the palette. Because in studios and all, what happens is you get complete freedom to change the entire place according to your whims and fancies. But when you're using your friend's place, or when you're using your own place, you can't go up repainting the entire thing or changing the color of the entire thing. It might not be possible. All you can do is hang few things in the background which falls in the color palette, design the costumes of the actors in a particular color palette, place some properties in a particular color palette. So what is a color palette? Basically, there is something, so I don't want to get into the technical part, which is I have covered in the workshop already, but to quickly say it, see, like I said in advanced workshop also, every subject in filmmaking is an engineering subject by itself. Color psychology is such a huge book. Initially, my mentor had given me, I never went through the book entirely, but I have seen a lot of YouTube videos. Rather than reading books, I prefer videos. So color psychology plays an important role in creating a particular emotion. And when you throw very odd colors in a frame, it looks odd. It looks very jarring or disturbing or unsettling. So to kind of soothe the experience, to kind of create a particular mood, we use a particular color palette. So I have even given examples in the advanced workshop of superhero films. So there are dark colors that they use, which DC films and all, if you see DC Universe films and all, they will be very dark in color. The mood will be very dull. But when we see Marvel films and all, they will be very bright colored, very lively colors will be used. So if it's a romantic comedy, lively colors will be used, the pinks will be there, yellows will be there, many bright colors will be mixed. But when you are using a dark genre film like Harry Potter, the 5th part, 6th part and all, lot of blues, lot of dark shades, underexposed shots were used. So not to get in depth of it, but basically you have to understand that color palette kind of brings out the feel that you are looking for. So this also, again, I simplify it, oversimplify it in my workshops. Whenever you are making a film, initially you are going to make a short film, and for that short film you will have n number of reference short films or feature films. For example, when I was doing a film, this was my third feature film, I guess. The script we had written, we were about to like get started, it kind of went on a hold. So for that film we had taken Stranger Things, a Netflix series called Stranger Things, as reference. That color palette and all, we had decided we are going to use this color palette in our film. As simple as that. You can already you can use an already existing color palette of a feature film in your short film. No one is going to say you copied the color palette from there. No, but you will understand how to use color palette better when you do this. So this funda is basically like cursive writing. Initially, you don't have to come up with your own colors. You already use a see, at the end of the day, even now when we do any short films, that's what we do. We you just go to Google, go to internet and type color palette, you will get a lot of color palettes. And you will, if you read about it, you will understand why a particular color palette works for a particular film. So you use reference films. You use a reference film. For example, even for Bengaluru Clubhouse, we have discussed about color palette. We have kind of, but like I said, it's my own place. So I didn't want to change the color of the walls and all. So we decided we are going to stick with this color palette. So indie filmmakers, we have to keep our limitations also in mind. And keeping that in mind, what is the best color palette we can get? But if you work on the color palette, you will see the difference on the screen. Cinematographer who just goes randomly shooting whatever he gets, and a person who decides the color palette, does his homework and chooses the colors. See, color palette, like I said, costumes, properties, the background, the location. These three things, what are colors we use? So this has to fall in a particular palette. And where do you get these palettes? From your films, from your favorite films, or the films that you are choosing as references for your short film. So for example, next Vijay is doing a thriller film. Just check out any amazing thriller film. There are my advice is, don't even go for checking out Hollywood films. Check out films that are, for example, a Telugu feature film you can check out, or any Indian feature film, thriller film you check out, because our Indian color palette is a bit different from the foreign color palette. So we can check out films that are close to us, and the color palette that they have used is easily recreatable for us. You just recreate the same palette, your film will still look amazing, because that film is totally different, your film is totally different, just that you are taking the color palette from there. That's as simple as that. So I know I am oversimplifying everything. That's how I approach things even now. That's the best way to do things initially. Even big films, they do the same thing, guys. Don't think color palette and all is something we come up from the scratch. It's already, color psychology is defined, just that you might decide, okay, I'm going to change few things here and there. But at the end of the day, psychology remains the same. Even we have done this in many films. I can give you countless examples. In Gajina Gode, I had used purple color to indicate death. So for that, we had used the noose that I used to hang. That curtain will be purple in color. So it's kind of an indicator of death. And the color I'll be wearing, the t-shirt will be blue in color. So that denotes something. So all these things we used to study color palettes and study color psychology, and then bring it in our film. So do some reading, do some Googling, you are good. You will get an idea. But the only thing you have to keep in mind is you have to know that there is something called as color palette, and you have to kind of do some research on deciding the research on color palette before deciding the colors of the costumes or the properties that you are going to use in the film. As simple as that. Anything else? So how many of you after this session feel confident that or feel excited to get started with your cinematography journey? Let's have a count so that we know how many new cinematographers are going to come up in Golden Age Film House. Guys, Sanjeev, we have been coordinating personally also. So Srinivas is already doing. Sanjeev. So another thing is, I always say this. Initially, don't get started with cinematography right away. Work with Srinivas or work with people who are already doing. Assist them in a couple of projects, and your work becomes much more easier. You work with them in 2-3 projects, then you start a film on your own. This is how I always make sure people work, but some cases we don't even get a chance to. We directly get started. But this is the best way. Like assist some people in 1 or 2 films, and then you try it out in a 3rd film. Then you will get started. So Sanjeev, Venkatesh, Shankar says, Raj says wanted to try. People who are really serious about cinematography, gradually, if not immediately, gradually plan to invest on a DSLR, because a basic DSLR in hand will enable you to shoot much better footages. But initially, like I said, you can get started with phone. Experimenting on your own. But when you come into a group film or in a project and all, definitely a DSLR will be needed. So start exploring DSLRs. Even if you get a hand, like get hold of a friend's DSLR also, it's fine. Start exploring DSLRs, because today indie filmmaking DSLRs are more than enough, guys. Sony Alpha and all are amazing DSLRs which we can use for feature films also. So I know many feature films that are shot with Sony Alpha, Alpha series cameras. Even Hollywood films, many of them, indie films, they try DSLRs. So initially, DSLRs are more than enough. Once you reach a certain stage, then you will explore Blackmagic, Red, all those cameras. But initially, DSLRs are good enough to tell your stories. So that's it, guys. So I always try to simplify the entire process of filmmaking, because that's how it has been for me. Like I have always told you, I didn't come into this knowing all these things. I came into filmmaking as an actor, and from there I started exploring every aspect. And today, Virgin Vaishali, I have, except for cinematography, I have done color correction part, sound design part, and music mixing and mastering part. So how I was able to do all editing part, VFX part, how I was able to do all these things is with this attitude. Just give it a try. Let's just try it out. Let's see whether I am able to do it as good as a professional cinematographer. We might not be able to achieve it 100%, but if you are able to get 90%, and if you are able to tell the story efficiently without spending out a lot of money, or without spending out like working with other people, which is a costly, tiresome process, I'm happy. So that kind of attitude is what will help you also become indie filmmakers successfully without shelling out a lot of money, without quitting your jobs. So there will come a time when you will feel confident to quit your jobs and all. Till then, this is the best way to go. So all the best, everyone. Any last question before we end this? We are almost at 10 o'clock. Any more questions? I think most of you here are advanced workshop participants only. So if someone is still not attended the advanced workshop, do give it a try. You will understand filmmaking better there. Telegram workshop was just the introduction. But once you attend the advanced workshop, from then on, I would suggest you just start exploring cinema with us. That should be more than enough to get you deeper and deeper into the process. So nothing else is required. No other course is required. Just that you need a lot of hands-on, which we should proactively, like Srinivas said, proactively we should take actions to do that, do those things. So yeah, that's it. Any other questions before we wrap up? Okay, so I think it was an informative session. I hope it was useful. I hope it will be useful, and I hope more people get inspired to try cinematography. At least initially, you just try it out. You might enjoy it. You might enjoy doing cinematography and editing. Of course, editing cinematographer. If he like Srinivas also edited a version. Actually, the editing session that we had last week, I have not yet uploaded it. I'll definitely upload it. So Srinivas had edited one version of Together. I had edited one version of Together. Similarly, the new film Srinivas is editing. So when a cinematographer can shoot and edit, it's definitely an added advantage. You will learn much faster compared to a person who only shoots. So please try your hands at editing, try your hands at cinematography. Like Shankar said, multitasking or multi-talented people are more in demand every day today. So let's aspire for that. Okay, thank you guys, all the best. Thank you for making this a wonderful session. So stay in touch with cinema. Thank you.